Alright, let's give this a shot. This is take 3 on how to create an adapter plate so that the hole through the plate has one shape at one end of the passage and a different shape at the other end of the passage. Let's try a round to a square, or a square to a round. And say we want to make our plate 1 inch thick, so let's just start with that. Let's move the square, it could be the circle, 1 inch in Z away from the other item. Move Z 1 inch. Now let's take a different view just to make sure that we actually have what we think we have. Looks like it. Alright. And now I am going to use kind of a trick. Let's see, extrude solid. We have to select the closed shape. And that goes minus 0.1. Let's make that 0.1. So the top of that surface is now 0.1 inch more than 1 inch away from that. And we're going to take the circle and we're going to do, so the distance between those two solids is 1 inch. That's our final plate, so to speak. Now we're going to try and loft this and see if it works. That surface to that surface. Incompatible co-edges encountered, lofted solid. There we go. Not sure that's exactly the way I would have tackled it, but there we go. We actually have 3 pieces there. Alright, we have this piece. Oh, I stand corrected. It's all formed into one piece. How convenient. And now we'll make the outline of the plate itself that we might be using. View, top view. This might be one hole of multiples in a plate. I'll leave you to draw your plate out all fancy. And then we're going to extrude that plus 1 inch. And let's take a look. Alright, no big deal. And then we're going to do a simple Boolean subtract. And there you have your adapter plate, 1 inch thick. You can go from there to create anything that you need to create at this point. Let's just take it into CamBam real quick and do something simple with it. File, export, STL. I'm just going to take it to the desktop for now. Adaptor plate. Okay. Now we'll just minimize this because we might want to monkey with that. CamBam's taking its sweet time starting up, probably because I have all that memory tied up with ViaCad, but give it a minute. Okay. Oop. Let's import that adapter plate off the desktop. There we go. It'd be nice to have some outlines. Since this is a nice simple geometric shape, we can actually create outlines directly off of it. Edit. surface, silhouette, slice width, let's go with 2 inches. I like something thicker than what I'm taking the slice width off of if I just want the top and bottom. Okay, now let's create a second layer to keep things separate, and we'll make this one outlines. And let's just take all of those, drag them to that layer, and turn that layer off and see what we have. Alright, we've got nice working outlines to do everything from. That's awesome. Now if you want, you could just skip over to my mold making video for CamBam, but we'll do some simple tool paths with this. Let's turn the display of the solid back on, and we'll select the solid, and then we'll select a 3D mop, come down here, and well, let's just throw in a tool size just so that it has something to work with. And then we will select profile method, waterline finish. You could use waterline rough, will take out all the material, but I don't want to spend that much time calculating. We'll go with waterline finish. Stock surface is 1 inch, target depth is 0. You may want to go deeper than that so that you cut all the way through your plate. It's up to you to figure out how to fixture it and do what you want to do. But this should give us the basic stuff on how to do this. And let's see what our depth increment is. 0.015, or a little, about 15 thousandths of an inch, or 1.5 hundredths, or 0.015 inches, whatever. Alright, let's generate some tool paths. Control T. And wait for a little while. Now let's hide this. And let's take a look at what our tool paths look like. Ah, well, we don't need to cut the... Well, we might need to cut the outside of the adapter plate, but we're not demonstrating that right now. So let's go in here. Remember all of those lines that I generated to define the edges? We'll go to there, and where it says boundary method, instead of shape outline, we will select selected shapes. Then we'll come to the boundary shape ID, and we'll click that so it allows us to select this right here. And we'll hit Control T again. And there's the passageway for your adapter plate. Now I want to caution you that when you actually cut this, the corners of your square are going to be round at the same radius as your cutter. You know, in other words, I programmed this with a 1/4 inch mill, so the corners of the square are going to be rounded by 1/8 inch. And you have to figure out what you need to do to make that work from there. But that's basically how you go from one size and shape hole to another size and shape hole cutting through a plate, or one way you could do it. The first CAD program that I used was ViaCad Pro version 9, and this CAM software is CamBam latest stable release.